Jeffrey Dahmer soaked in blood. The Unabomber blowing up. Waco, Texas, and Heaven's Gates. Aliens modified, meant for apes. Hitler faked his death and then escaped. Bigfoot and the Mothman. Son of Sam talking to dogs again. Witches, ghosts, and goblins. Mysterious noise and hauntings. Dark arts in the skull and bones. Most celebrities are probably cloned. So if you're feeling all alone, crack a beer and get stoned. I welcome you to the podcast Strange Brew. We're here to entertain you. We're here to entertain you.
It's about to get strange.
Welcome everybody back to the podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tomcat, aka Tom Thompson, the Raptilian. Make sure to check out my music on Spotify and YouTube Music. And who am I joined by?
You're joined by Brett, the man of many tastes.
Brett is back in the house, of course, to talk about another conspiracy theory episode. But, you know, like I said, I want to do a bunch of stuff, you know, that I'm already doing this online is in short form, exposing some of the stuff that's going on with inside the government and my opinions on certain events and how they orchestrate things, and people seem to like it and they want more of it. So we're going to start doing like some very conspiracy-based episodes. Me and Billy just did HARP. We just did the idea of Albert Pike's prediction of World War III, and I understand that people think that, there's people that think that Albert Pike didn't say this, that it was this French author that was trying to expose Freemasons or didn't like Freemasons. Right. I feel like that's an excuse for Freemasons to be like, no, we're not that bad, because there is people that believe that they're like actually good, and I'm like, I've seen Masonic rituals. Eventually, when we talk about Freemasonry more and maybe the Illuminati, I saved some videos of like someone with a hidden camera, and they were at just a basic lodge, like a Freemason meeting, and some of the rituals they do it's weird. Like, I will give my life for this secret. And like, you know, they do all these rituals to prove that you are worthy of going up a degree or whatever, and you have to like swear that you will like take these secrets to your grave, like we kind of talked about, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But you like, it's like a cult.
It is like a cult. It's like Bohemian Grove, like Alex Jones catching that. Like,
have you seen it, the whole thing?
Not the whole thing. I've only seen a snippet of it.
Bro, you should watch the whole thing. It's pretty interesting. Like, it's dry here and there, but like was the inside of Bohemian Grove with Alex Jones or whatever. Yeah. Watch it. Like, I watched that shit when I was like a teenager. It's interesting, dude. Yeah. Have you seen like the footage of them doing the cremation of care?
No.
It's weird. They're burning a body at an effigy. Like, we did a whole episode about it. If people don't know, go check it out or whatever. But they it's supposed to be like a fake body that they burn. And the idea of the cremation of care, right? What does it sound like? They're cremating their cares. All the horrible things that all these politicians do and how many people they murder for ritualistic murder and God knows what for the energy that they're releasing out into the universe. But they do the cremation of care. So after that whole year, they burn away all their cares.
Kind of like an scapegoat, or like
to like cleanse yourself in some ritualistic black magic.
Did you ever you know what a scapegoat is, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like that, but like they're using a fake body.
I'm getting like Brett's dad is very intelligent and versed on this conspiracy stuff, and I think it would be worth having him on one day, even for a rant kind of episode where we just shoot the shit kind of thing. But it's interesting, and that's why we developed such a good friendship. But it is like you were watching that stuff about David Icke too on what's his name's podcast, and he says some crazy shit, right? But it makes sense.
How we're living in a simulation. How he defines it as like.
I want to do an episode on the same.
That your body literally is decoding life as it goes along.
There's no light that reaches in your eye or whatever. Like the essentially like the decoding of the small visual spectrum that we live on, and a lot of people like talk about this all the time and stuff like that. It's like even another David Wilcock talks about this, about how we only have like, you only see the light spectrum. It's like the rainbow essentially. But even there's a rapper I love, Beast 1333, and he talks about it where he's like, there's primary colors that we never even seen. Microwave radiation in cuisine or whatever. Like, he does some really crazy shit. So I thought this would be interesting considering what's going on in the world. and how I do believe a lot of these events are orchestrated and created by the elites to bring about fear and to sway people in certain directions or have people give up their freedom for security because of events like happened like 9/11. And for everybody watching, you will only see a small version of this on YouTube. So if you want to watch the video of this episode, make sure to go to Rumble and subscribe to Strange Brew Podcast because there's going to be a lot of conspiracy episodes, some strange stuff that we're going to be doing, live shows that will only be on Rumble because YouTube loves censorship and they don't want people exposing what's going on with the elites or the parasites, as we should be calling them. So let's get into it. The crisis route to the New World Order. David Rockefeller said, all we need is the right major crisis and nations will accept the New World Order. Rahm Emanuel said, you never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that is this opportunity to do things that you cannot do before.
Right.
And that's what I kind of said about like even the border crossing explosion is I just kind of like, I was like, oh, I thought it was like when they first announced it, it was like a terrorist attack. I was like, oh, great, another false flag. Because I don't put it past these people that they will like shut down the borders and then trap you in your country. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds familiar.
Did you get an eye toke?
Yeah.
I hate that, especially when you like smoke like a joint and you're just like, we're smoking cigars. I'm going to have another drink of the Captain Morgan's. We got a dark rum. I don't drink rum too often. I always thought it gave me heartburn, but I think it was Bacardi.
Yeah,
because
it's
that's
too
what
high
we
of
used
alcohol.
to drink. But I think the sugar that's in Bacardi and stuff. It's
Think so?
yeah. Because then I went to Cuba and I drank the rum the whole time and I loved it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's all their stuff is cane sugar,
Yeah.
right? And it's all hand brewed, so.
Yeah, it's probably not full of GMO shit. So we're just having a little drink and a little cigar to get the kind of day going. But and that's why I warn people about that. They will even use crises that they haven't even created. So like the CIA orchestrates and other 3-letter agencies may orchestrate certain events to happen to push a plan that they have, or there's many different ideas we'll get into soon. But even like I do think that they'll even take ones that just happen and then they're like it's a terrorist attack and then you find out it's not, but they're putting people in a place of fear still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in the project for the New American Century document, Rebuilding America's Defense Strategy, Forces, and Resources for a New Century, we find the following. For the process of transformation, even if it's bringing revolutionary change, it is likely to be a long one, absent from some catastrophe and cataclysmic event like the new Pearl Harbor. So eventually I would be interested in talking about it. It would be a smaller kind of conspiracy episode, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, is discussing Pearl Harbor was definitely a false flag event to bring us into war.
Well, that was the other thing. A lot of people don't look back into like why Pearl Harbor actually happened.
Yeah.
It's when like you completely surround Japan.
Yeah.
They're
Provoking it.
Cannot trade with anyone. Nothing goes on or off the island. It's like, would you expect that was going to happen?
There's historians like Howard Zinn and stuff that said like that they provoked it. Roosevelt provoked Japan to do that.
Well, America wanted to get in the war, right?
Yeah, make money, man. War makes money. That's why like I've done videos and there's some people that are like, we actually lose billions of dollars when we're in war. And I'm like, no, we may. Are in our taxes? Yeah, sure. But the elites make a lot of money off of war and death and destruction.
There's a term called the spoils of war. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then once you've, beaten them, won, and then you have America, after they're done kicking the crap out of you, they'll come and rebuild you, but after they're done taking what they need, and then they rewrite the history books.
100%, man. Fucking Raytheon and BlackRock and Vanguard, especially BlackRock, is like, oh, we'll destroy. Well, they're doing deals with Zelensky or whatever, and be like, we'll destroy. Like if Ukraine gets destroyed, we already have the deal to rebuild Ukraine into probably a smart type of city once it's destroyed. And I feel like that's part of the reason why they're doing this shit is because they're like, oh, we can like they're gonna bomb the living shit out of Gaza and then rebuild it. As some smart city. They say it will take 150 years to rebuild it to what it was in 2014. And I don't care what you're like to rebuild everything, but I think we have technology that could easily build that pretty quickly. But I think I don't trust either side, but this war that's going on with Israel and Gaza or Israel and Palestinians, because the people are like, you're either for Hamas or you're for Israel. And it's like, No, you can be for like human beings, and the fact that there's people on the right side of things that are like, no ceasefire. You're advocating for war.
Yeah.
That you're crazy. You're just advocating. I've seen video footage of the children that are dying in Gaza, and it's fucking disgusting. It's disgusting, everybody. Fucking crazy, man.
Better question is what happened to Ukraine?
I know, now Zelensky's like, I need money still. And then Trudeau's still giving him money. I need to light up on the cigar again. These are pretty good, actually. Brett got into restoring cigars.
Uh-huh.
And these are pretty good. So you can hear that. That's just the torch going. That's good. Fuck yeah. So, false flags. Obviously, these choreographed catastrophes, operations, have been used for generations for various motives. The seizure and additional land and natural or mineral resources, domestic or foreign. Obviously, of cheap labor, because they create like third world countries through the destabilizing them. Economic destabilization, the military depopulation of indigenous populations. Makes sense. The destruction of religion or political ideologies. So they'll like come in and they have maybe people that are doing. There's different ideas about what if Gaddafi was a good guy or a bad guy, or if he was actually helping the people because he wanted to give them free healthcare and free, but under what guise? That's what we don't really know. But he was trying to create his own currency supposedly. There's a lot of theories out there, but the idea is that. Even if you have a country that's maybe doing very well that wants to go against the Rothschilds banking system, and then they come and destroy that, and then they rebuild it with their ideologies, right? And that's why there is people out there, for people that don't understand, that's what why there's theories that people believe that Hitler may have been trying to go against the Rothschilds. Who knows how much of that is true? I do think that the concentration camps were real and the Nazis did horrible things to people, but there's people that believe that he was trying to go against the Rothschild banking system. Is why people think that.
Well, that's actually factual. When first thing that Hitler did was kick out a central bank out of Germany.
I know. But then I think that people got hold of it. There's people that believe that like he was trying to do a righteous good thing for people, and then there's people that believe that the reptilians or the dark forces started influencing and programming the Nazis.
Well, it could have been all the methamphetamine too. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
we don't know yet.
All that shit that's in the water. It's like, know what we should do? We should kill fucking everybody. Crazy.
He was just sitting on his back porch looking at the mountains. He's like, you know what? This would be great if there was less juice.
And he's like shaking in his chair.
Just shaking back and forth.
So crazy. So obviously the establishment of political tyranny. Obviously, as we experienced after 9/11, with the establishment of the Patriot Act and the Department of Homeland Security, which was created to essentially censor people and control things. And people are like, nah, it's a good agency. No, it's not. All these three-letter agencies, even the fucking Department of Homeland Security, is not good. To assist an allegedly threatening ally, so they establish somebody. That's what's crazy. They establish these groups. They pay these terrorist groups like ISIS, Al Qaeda, fucking the Taliban, and they fund them. They give them weapons, and they say they're freedom fighters. And then they come in after and be like, no, we have to take out this threat. And there's theories that they implant these groups in countries, and then it gives them an excuse to be like, we have to take out this terrorist threat that we already orchestrated and created, because war is terror, you know. It's crazy. So the fundamental factors in the majority of all false flag operations is it's trying to put greater restrictions on worldwide residential populations in order to implement internationalism or globalism, formerly known as the utopian New World Order under the direction of the elite hierarchy. False flag catastrophes include terrorist attacks, assassination of political leaders, natural disasters, industrial accidents, armed assaults against citizens, Waco, Ruby Ridge, Kent State, which we'll eventually do an episode about all that stuff. Me and Billy covered Waco, and I said, I don't know if David Koresh was a good guy or a bad guy, but he's probably a little crazy. But there's people that think that there is a lot more that we don't know about. And then there's video footage after. It's like, well, they have video footage of all the people being like, he was terrible, he was raping the kids, he was doing that and this. And then it's just like, but they could also be paid actors. You could say anything. You could put someone in front of a camera.
Sandy Hook?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get into that. We won't say too much. But And also economic assaults in the form of economic crashes like 1929 and more recently the bankers bailout, both match like in 2008, right?
Yeah.
Like all the days like, oh, we'll bail you out, we'll use our money. So prevailing features of these circumstances, whether man-made or natural, is the transference of the culpability followed by the government's predictable exploitation of any of these circumstances and false flag operations to manipulate individuals, either like dupe them or whatever like that, but to get these skilled operatives who masquerade as purported enemy aggressors. Like the idea that and eventually we'll talk about it in a big way, is when we talk about Osama bin Laden, because like he was known as Tim Osman in the CIA. And it's funny because it's a code name, and it's like very similar to Osama bin Laden. They just rearranged some of the lettering and stuff like that, but it's not the same name. But Tim Osman, Osama bin Laden, you get it?
Yeah.
And then you have a Barack Obama and
Osama bin Laden.
so weird, man. There's people that think that there's theories out there. There's crazy ones that think that bin Laden is Osama bin Laden, and I was like, or Obama is Osama bin Laden. I was like, I don't necessarily believe that one.
No.
But there is weird things about Osama bin Laden, or about Barack Obama, is that there's an ancient pharaoh sarcophagus. I can't remember whose it is, but you can overlay his face over the sarcophagus, and it like matches identically. So they're saying that
They use like genetic heirlooms.
well, they're
Didn't
clones.
what was it again? I know this is something we should probably get into. It's a conspiracy theorist, but every single president that's ever existed has derived back from one king that was from England.
It's the Sumerians too.
Yeah.
David Icke traced when they
Wasn't
started.
even David. There was another girl that did it.
Yeah, they trace all the
The
lineages.
lineage back to one king, and apparently it's like a huge ring of like family members that are only allowed to have ever been
The
president.
Rothschilds and Rockefellers, I think they're the same type of family, that they're just like broken off. There's the Habsburg family, the Dutch family that eventually got taken over by the Rothschilds, but they say they merged together. There's a lot of stuff that's coming that I actually want to read up on, and I'm reading David Icke's book, The Children of the Matrix, and it's fascinating.
It is.
There's so
100%.
many crazy stuff that's going on. So obviously aircrafts or ships are either camouflaged to conceal their identity or marked in such way to confuse witnesses, like we'll talk about in World War, I think 1 or 2 is when they did that. I think it was 1. The operation is compartmentally constructed in such a way that individuals that participate in small part of the venture without knowing the entire scope of the operation. The idea, like the same thing with Freemasons, where if you're at a lower level, you're just like thinking, oh, it's a cool brotherhood, they're going to watch out for me and all that stuff. And then if you go to the higher tiers, it's like you have to worship Luciferianism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's people that think that people that were against Freemasons added that in to make people think that Freemasonry is bad, and I understand that, but I don't trust Freemasons. For everyone out there that's like, well, no, it's not bad, I'm a Freemason. I've known Freemasons, and it's just a lot of repeating bullshit and ritualistic stuff that is, to me, weird. So... Don't trust him. So in naval warfare, this is actually interesting. A false flag refers to an attack where a vessel flies a flag other than their true battle flag before engaging the enemy. And this is like a trick that was done during the pirate ages.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because
Because then you get real close and without them firing, they're not at the ready, and you get everyone ready on your boat, and you get close enough.
You fly a French flag, but you're actually like a mercenary
or pirates.
Yeah, or pirate, right? And then as soon as they come up, you're like, you got the one guy really trying to put up the fucking black flag before they start firing on you. It's cool because I love pirate stuff. Eventually, I think we should go back to covering some of that stuff because I feel like you would like that shit. Do you know that pirates are gay? Did you know?
You think they just get on the other boat and they start raping all the British guys? Like what?
It was called maidalage because they were out in. This is very funny, but like because they were out in the water for so long, they got bored and like you could marry your best friend. And then we did an episode. It's now on Patreon. It's an episode way back in the day where we covered like the whole idea of pirates, and we're just talking about like barnacle ass. It's like everyone would stink, man. It would be like just gross, and then essentially after like being like you're on a ship for months or whatever, you're going crazy, you're hallucinating, who knows? And then you're like anything looks good, any hole, you're like sticking your dick in the cannon hole and be like, yeah, fuck yeah, you never know.
I don't know. That's a new level of nasty.
Yeah, but you go crazy eventually, right? It's like you need something that
Explains a lot more with Johnny Depp, doesn't it?
I know. You think about it, right?
Yeah.
So it is a trick designed to deceive the enemy about the true nature of the original attack. In a democratic era where governments require at least a plausible pretext before sending their nation to war, it has been adapted as a psychological warfare tactic to deceive a government's own population into believing that an enemy nation has attacked them. Let me light up again. Wow. I know. It's just when you talk, you can't keep.